I'm Mindy Wyke, and this is Work in Progress. It's a podcast where we will be talking all about human development in tech. In the tech world, WIP stands for Work in Progress. It's often used for pull requests, merge requests, and sometimes even technical documentation that is still in draft mode. It's not quite finished yet. And let's be real, we are not quite finished. Humans are always in draft mode. This podcast is about the real, the messy, the human side of working in tech. I'll be talking with engineers, but also designers, product folks, customer support, coaches, and people from all over the tech world about what they are learning about, struggling with, building, and becoming. But ultimately, we are not here to showcase perfection. We're here to normalize growth, share stories, and remind each other that being a work in progress is exactly where we are supposed to be. So let's commit to curiosity and jump into it. Hello, and welcome back to the Work in Progress podcast, where we are talking all about human development in tech. With me today, I have Nick Clark, who I've known on LinkedIn for I think almost a year, maybe, right about
Yeah,
then.
pretty close. Yeah,
Somewhere.
pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you
Yeah.
like to introduce yourself, fellow nerd?
Yeah, sure. So I have a kind of different background. I got my start when I was actually 7 years old, right? So I had learning troubles in elementary school. One of the age was like, you should really get him a computer. So all of my family members just kind of like put their money together and got me a Commodore 64. And then I would game on it. I learned that there was like gaming magazines. I'd do like the basic like programming on it and stuff. And I was like, I don't know, I was like hooked. I was like a fish to water. And ever since then, I just kind of like did all of that. And then another cool thing that I got involved with was in high school. They had kind of a school to work program, and it was more for like coded kids or people who might have learning troubles to kind of find their niche and figure out what they're going to do when they're out of high school. And my mom was an aide at the high school, so she got me into this program, even though I wasn't like technically probably like in need of that kind of mentorship.
Yeah.
I got it, and it was super interesting. So basically, you had a mentor, and she just tried to find you things to do that were like what you wanted to do. So I helped UNH do a website like for the disability section of UNH. Like we had like color coded maps, and we would click on stuff, and I had ideas. So it was my
Cool.
first like foray into like web development. And then I lucked out, and through that mentorship, there was 3 brothers-in-law that were starting a web business, and I started interning over there. In high school, if you were ahead in classes, you graduate half year. So I graduated half year and just went to work for them like full time. And then I would work for them on breaks from school and stuff like that. So like my background is, I guess, different from people that did like boot camps and stuff. Like I was hooked from 7 like on. Is kind of crazy. And then I've done like various things. I've done like QA work. I've done straight programming. I've done support roles. Now I'm doing DevOps. So like a little bit of most everything. I'd say.
Yeah, what's been
I
your
don't know.
favorite thing so far? Because I know you've been doing a lot of DevOps stuff lately, both learning and helping with built-in public, which we talked about
Yep.
recently for
Yep.
some Martin
Yeah.
project.
Yep. I'd say DevOps is kind of my favorite area. It's kind of cool because like you basically have something like CI/CD stuff where like when it sees a change, it just builds a change. It's kind of cool to be able to like see it like go through that. And I've done stuff too with it where quality control, right? Like Coverity, it'll check and see if you're making any high defects in your C++ code. And if you are, I mark the build unstable, and then you got to go fix your boo-boo. So it's kind of cool to be able to like kind of be a gatekeeper, make sure the quality of the code's good. And it's kind of cool to have something that started from nothing and just like iterates through the pipeline to like a finished like product.
Yeah,
So
have you been building well, I know especially with the built-in public project, you're sort of like starting from scratch, but like is that what you've had a lot of experience with, is starting from like no CI/CD pipeline, no coverage, or have you done a lot of like jumping into existing projects?
so my current role, unfortunately, a lot of that was done before I was here, like
Hmm.
started. So like a lot of it is kind of at Keurig, it's kind of like we're kind of basic bones DevOps. Like we're making coffee machines. Like we don't need containers. We don't need this. So like I have a lot of stuff in Jenkins, and it's kind of like cut and paste, like redo, because it's like they're all like AI projects. So like maybe it's a different configuration file, but like the bones of it is kind of the same. So here, unfortunately, it's like everything's kind of like done and it's just repeatable. So it gets a little gets a little boring. That's why I'm trying to kind of like branch out and learn some other things. And it'd be kind of cool
Yeah,
to get
fun to
somewhere
try something new.
where it's like maybe it's a startup, maybe it's, so that you can really just get in there and do that. And with the built-in public stuff, I've helped out a lot with. We have automations around like GitHub Actions. So
Hmm.
like when you commit your code in, it will run like a quality scan check. It will check your packages in npm. It'll do those kinds of things, which is was cool. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we also
yeah.
like look for secrets. So like you're not able to like it'll tell you, hey, you put a secret in your code here, like no, because we don't want to be pushing like secrets. People can just grab them.
Uh,
Yeah. So
yeah, that's good. I do like starting from scratch. Like, it's been interesting because I started off on a greenfield project where we built everything from scratch, and we had a DevOps team to like now everything's already pre-built.
yeah,
But I've been learning DevOps too, and I'm just it's funny to go sort of the other way to me because I went opposite to you, but like
right.
um I don't know where I'm going with that. I just think it's cool.
It's just
Um,
interesting to have something that's nothing and become something, or just have something
yeah.
set up where it just automatically instantiates it and builds something out. Um,
Yeah, and I think it's
like
really cool to like try something new. Like you may not know all the answers, but like as you
right,
move forward with this project that you're helping with, you're figuring
right,
out like what belongs where and okay, that's not working, so let's tweak that or figure that out. So that's pretty cool.
right. The real iteration. And then here, like at Keurig, we have some machines that are connected brewers, they're like smart brewers. So basically,
Hmm.
like I have a Jenkins job that pushes a file that's JSON into a repository in Azure, and then that instantiates a pipeline and makes that thing OTA-able. Like it creates a SAS token, it assigns it to the JSON file, and then you can flash the brewer. So that's kind of interesting what we do here for Keurig.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some really fascinating things people can do. Actually, let's go back to Jenkins because
Sure.
I think we first started chatting around the
Boy.
time that I started my DevOps boot camp that I've been working on, which I'm
Yeah.
still working on, just kind of taking a pause while
Yeah.
I'm getting
Oh yeah,
integrated at
for
my new
sure.
job. But
Yeah.
I guess I'm interested to learn why, not why, but like I'm interested to learn the fact that it's being used IRL, like out in the wild.
Yeah.
Has
I
it?
think I think it's something somebody chose. So like before I
Yeah.
started here, there was a small team. I think it was like maybe two DevOps people, and they probably just like chose Jenkins. That's what they rolled with. I mean, it could be anything. The other
Hmm.
kind of crazy thing is we're kind of we have like eggs in two baskets, right? Like so we have pipelines Jenkins. We also have like Azure pipelines in YAML. It's like we could
Yeah.
just like move completely over and get rid of Jenkins completely and just run it all like across pipelines. Like I'm not
Yeah.
really understanding
Tell me about it.
why it was done. And maybe it's a proof, maybe it's something they need to do like a proof of concept, like move a couple jobs over and say, hey, look, like we could essentially like disband and get rid of this because that's another cost. Like we're running a virtual machine in Azure with storage too, and it could all just be run in the existing like Azure pipeline. So I think it was just a choice that was made before I was here. So and the other goofy thing is we also have two source control programs. We're
Yeah.
using Bitbucket, but we also have Azure repos. So like, wouldn't we just like move it all over to one? I don't know.
You know, it's funny though. In my old position, we had something very similar. We had Team City pipelines, Azure pipelines. For a hot minute, we also had some GitHub pipelines, GitHub
Yeah,
Actions. Um, so yeah, it's one of those things where it's also like each team was doing something a little different, which is another challenge to like figure
right.
out how to collaborate in the same space or like have some
Or have
standards.
have a tool that meets the needs of like various teams. You know,
Yes.
like
Yeah, I
that
guess
might
because
be
that's the
using
other
this
thing.
product because it fills these boxes, and these guys might be
Right.
using that one because it fills these boxes. And
Right.
yeah, I get
That
it.
makes total sense. Well, but it's
Yeah,
one of those things where you have to figure it out because, like, at a certain point, the costs add up for different, like, having a different subscription or a different
yeah,
service can add up pretty significantly.
oh, yeah,
So,
for sure. Yeah, like we got stuff in Azure, but then we also have a little bit of stuff in AWS and
hmm.
Google. We actually have a homegrown application we wrote in Google Cloud.
Yeah,
But like we got like three different cloud providers that we're using. The AWS one's more for like an Alexa skill, but I can't really see people like really doing like, hey, coffee machine, bring me a cup of coffee. Like I've got this fancy connected brewer in the kitchen back there, but I just go over and just press the buttons. Like, like I never use any of that stuff.
Yeah.
No.
Oh my gosh. I'm just picturing, the robot coming to bring you coffee. I actually had
Yeah,
to
I
stop
mean,
drinking
gonna have
coffee.
to have water in the tank and the pot in the machine and the cup underneath it. It's not completely
Yeah.
done. It's
Yeah, I guess you could build it with like, yeah, no, I'm getting too far ahead of
yeah,
myself. Um,
yeah.
well, cool. So then with the built-in public project, if you're able to say what sorts of, so we're using GitHub Actions, what other cloud resources, or I assume we're using Docker, or have you not containerized quite yet?
Yeah, it's in Docker, so the whole development environment's in Docker, and they're using Superbase right now for the database. I
Yes.
think eventually they might shift off of it because I think at one point it's a free version, but if you do X amount of transactions, it starts to get like
Yeah.
cost intensive and stuff like that. So
Yes.
using that, React. It wasn't in TypeScript at first, but I helped convert the existing stuff into TypeScript, so now it's all
Hmm.
completely in TypeScript. Um, we were using Dependabot, but I think we're going to start using what's the other one than R? Crap, I'm forgetting the name of it. There's one that's like better than Dependabot, and
Ooh.
we were having issues where it would auto merge the dependencies. Like you don't want it to auto merge the dependencies, right? Because you got to make
Yeah,
sure that those dependency changes aren't going to break the project. The security ones, fine, good. Go grab the things that fix
definitely. Yes.
CVEs. That's
Yeah.
fine. Just go. So this one sits on top, and it's like an app. It's a GitHub application, and you basically like allow it to see your stuff, and it uses Dependabot, but it like makes it better. So I helped kind of stage test it because we don't want to like completely move over off Dependabot until we make sure it works. So I forked the repo and tried it out on my own GitHub, and it seems to be doing the right
Yeah.
stuff. So
You'll have to tell me when you figure out the name of that one, because on an old project I was using Dependabot, and we had it so that you had to like check it out before, like you had to manually merge it so that you could check it over. Um, but I would love to know what that is because I also on another project that I'm working on, we're using GitLab and I tried implementing their like pseudo version of Dependabot, like somebody created it and it's very similar, and I haven't gotten it to work 100% yet. Um, but yeah,
I can
I'd
grab
be
the name
curious.
of it.
Yeah, what is
Just
it?
give me a second. I'm just looking at my forked repo, and then I can look at the
Hmm.
JSON file. It's no thing with an R. Where is it? Oh, renovate.
What is it?
Renovate. This is the actual URL to the GitHub project for it. Basically, what you do is you like it's in the application. You allow the application to speak to your repos, and you can decide like if you only want it to attach to one repo, all repos, whatever. And then there's
Cool.
a basic JSON file that dictates like how you want it to look.
Is there only
So
one
like
repo currently for the built-in public project, or is there
yeah,
multiple?
there's two. The other one's a wiki, for like the
Okay.
wiki pages.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there's really just like one for the application and one for the documentation, which
Oh yeah,
we
that
probably
reminds
need to
me.
start working a little bit more on the documentation. I feel like I'm the person that keeps being the nag. I'm like, these tickets need like more information. Like maybe we need a template so that like, because if you're not familiar with the code, right, like you could say, hey, like I want these links gone on this, like, but where's the route to that? Like, I know
Hmm.
it's like under SG application main this, but like, where am I going to make that change, see that change? So that was a suggestion I had this week. Like maybe we need a template. We're using ClickUp for um, the tickets.
Yeah.
So maybe we need
Yeah,
something.
ClickUp's cool.
Yeah, so that and maybe some better onboarding documentation so that like
Yeah,
if you're
because you
new
guys have a
to
pretty
React
good
and
sized team now too.
yeah, it's pretty big. Yeah, pretty substantial.
Yeah, cool. Um, well, actually, I do, if you're open to it, I did want to talk a
Sure.
little bit about, did you end up, remind me, I know you were working on the Azure 400, right?
Yeah, I'm still working on it, but
Okay.
I know like speaking with I don't know if you know Jade. She works for Microsoft. She's
Yeah,
somebody else that's on
Jade
LinkedIn. Okay.
Wilson, yes.
Yeah, so she has her own Discord too, which I've been hanging out in, and I've been just
Hmm.
kind of like picking her brain about that. She was basically saying that, it's great to have certifications, but it's better to have experience in that,
Hmm.
which I totally get. So I used to work when I first got out of college, I worked doing computer repair work. And my boss was like, yeah, I've had many people in here that are A+ certified. So that's like the
Hmm.
certification for fixing computers. They got the cert, but then you sit them down in front of a broken computer, no freaking clue how to fix it. So like I don't know. So I want it, but like I feel like maybe focusing more on getting the skills for it might behoove me more. So
Hmm.
I've been kind of working towards it. I'm also a little gun shy, so I had a really tough time on my last one. So there's one called Azure Administration. It's the AZ-104. That
Hmm.
one's tough because it's a little bit of everything, right? Like you got to know like storage, you got to know like how to, like bicep, you got to know this, that. It's like you got to know all of it. So like sitting the test is like super hard. So I sat it the first time. I got like a 640, which is pretty good. 700 better is passing. The other thing too is that like you can do better. It's weighted, right? So certain sections are worth more than others, and you could do
Oh yeah.
poorly on sections that are worth more and get a worse score. So then I got like
Yeah.
a 640. And then I got all in my head because they were from time to time they changed the exams. I'm like, oh, I'm like so close. I'm
As
like
they
right
do.
there, like 640, like I should just study for another week and sit it again. Sat it again. Way worse. The other
Mm,
problem is you probably get different question sets because they have like all these questions and you might get
yeah.
different questions than they got the first time. So then I spent tons of time just studying. And I think what really nailed it for me was doing labs. So they have Microsoft has labs. You can do the labs. So I did the labs for preparation. I listened to other people's stuff on it and finally passed it. So I'm also a little gun shy. They're gonna sit this damn thing and I'm gonna not do well. But I
Does
did
it cost
learn that
it?
they
Does it
sorry,
cost
go
each
ahead.
time you spit, or
Oh yeah, sure, of course.
yeah,
And this one actually costs more because if I get this as a pro level cert, so I get that certification plus a pro level cert. So I think I want to say it's like maybe like 150, 200. Like it's expensive.
yeah,
But I did learn that they have a company that does exam retry. So basically you pay a little bit more and you get a
mm,
retry, but you can only
yeah,
use it for that
like a
exam.
certificate or
So like
whatever. Yeah.
if you cleared it the first time, you're out that extra money because it's just your safety net. But it at least, so I don't know. I'm working on it. Every time I take a practice test, it's not great for Microsoft, so I know I'm not ready. So I don't know. It's there, but it's kind of back burner right now.
What do you feel like? So besides getting more experience, what do you feel like would help you feel more prepared for like this pro level cert that you're considering?
I think I just need to play around more with it, which is something else I've been trying to do. Like, I'm trying to like build in public and post about it on LinkedIn and just kind of like
Hmm.
work through different things. And maybe I need to think about more like they have canned labs, right? So I could take those canned labs and try to improve them or make them better and
Hmm.
maybe focus more on areas that I'm doing poorly on. So I need to kind of probably identify what areas I'm doing worst on and just try to really focus in on labs that help me with that. 'Cause for me, it's always about like I can read about it, I'll kind of understand it, but I need to really just like get in there and just like figure it
Yeah,
out. And that's how it really
learn by
unlocks it
doing.
for me.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I, I don't know if I've ever sat for one of these particular types of certifications. Are they typically like,
They're tough.
um,
So there's different pieces to it, right? So some of them you can go back to. So they have multiple guests, and those at
mhm,
least you can kind of be like, if you read it and you're like, oh, it's probably definitely not A and C, and then you could go back to it. So those you can go back to. Then yes and no's. You got to do those right away. You cannot go back to those because it's either
yeah,
one or the other. Like you got to figure it out. Um, They'll usually have ones where they'll list out a bunch of steps and you got to like say, they're like, hey, we need to provision this, like what steps you need to take. And you have to like drag and drop and have them be in the right one. And the craziest one they had is called a case study.
okay,
And they give you way more information than you could ever possibly need, like pages of
of
stuff.
course,
So
yeah,
I've learned the best way to answer these is skip to the questions they're asking you and figure out from that what piece of information and the other stuff is beneficial
that's smart. Because
to answer
otherwise you
it.
might get overwhelmed with like all of the content.
Yeah, at the first time I sat and I got overwhelmed with like all this information and half of it is like doesn't have anything to do with anything.
Yeah,
So
I can
yeah,
imagine. But
yeah.
that's
So
interesting.
that's
'Cause I
kind of
was
tough.
wondering if they would have you like similar to the labs, like do actions or like debug to some degree. But it's kind of
There
interesting. It
was
sounds
a
like it's a
there
lot
was
of
a
there was a
lab in
lab.
mind,
Okay.
but it wasn't it was weird. It was like a canned environment, like and you had to like it had hot button areas where you had to click to
Yeah.
perform some action. So yeah.
That makes
And now
sense.
they've kind of opened it up where you can actually use MS Learn for certain exams. So you can
Yeah.
actually like open a tab. It's not a real browser, so you can't like control find and look for stuff. But if you know like what to search for, you might be able to like cross-reference some stuff during the exam.
Oh yeah, I was gonna
So
ask, are you able to look things up because like in real life you can Google or use a chatbot?
some of the exams, I forget. There's a forget what it is. There's a designation that the test has to be able to use MS Learn. But the
Okay.
one I think I'm sitting, actually, you could use it. So. But you might waste a lot of time doing that, right? You can't assume you're gonna be able to just like search and find every answer to a 50 question test.
Yeah, that would take
Yeah.
far too long. Is it typically in
Yeah,
like a place where
for
you get a
sure.
test proctor, or is it typically like something that you would take at home and then they just can like see what you're
It
doing?
dep it depends on how you want to take it. I always go somewhere. So there is a community college a couple towns over, and they just have like a computer lab. And I'm sure they have
Mhm.
are doing other tests, maybe for like people's maybe it's like a real estate exam or whatever. Like they're just computer
Yeah.
stations and the proctor just types in and then she leaves. You'll look up all your stuff. I do those. You can actually do one with a proctor, but I've heard like horror stories like the app crashing and thinking you're cheating even though you're not cheating. Like I'd rather just go somewhere. It's stressful enough sitting in the exam. Like I don't need the added stress of like, are they gonna think I'm cheating? Is it gonna freeze? Like that sort of thing.
Yeah,
So, but
that
the
makes sense.
computers are potato computers. You go to the lab, they're like really potato computers. So I don't know. That could be a problem too, I guess.
Yeah, those proctor, because I used to have my real estate license and I had to go to one of those places, and it is
Yep.
kind of a fascinating environment because you're like it feels almost sterile in the sense of a computer lab, but like it's almost like you're in a
Like
school setting, but
like
not.
privacy curtains. It can't see
Yeah.
the person's screen. Even though you're probably not even taking the same exam.
Yeah, which I didn't even think about before, but that's a good point. Like they probably do just have a thing where it's like, yeah, this person needs this test, and then they pull it
Yeah,
up.
I think they just like type it in and just pulls it up.
hmm
Yeah. So I've
Although
gone over
I
there for two.
although I used to be a drone pilot, which was fun, and I went and got my
Oh,
Part 107 FAA license, and I had to go to an actual like airport. There's a municipal airport not too far from where I am now,
yeah.
that I went to and had to take a proctored test there on their computers. So I assume they only have, you know, flight related tests
Right.
there.
Yeah. Tests on there. Yeah, probably.
hmm
Yeah.
Well, cool. So I guess you're still working on that, but you may or may not finish it. I guess we'll see. We'll have to find out later.
Yeah, I mean, I want it, but I think I have other things to focus on now. And like, to Jade's
Yeah.
point, like it's good to have it, but I think it's better to have the experience in it. Like if I were to
hmm
lose my job, I don't think me saying I have an AZ400 is gonna like be like, oh, let's give him a role. Like he definitely deserves it. It'd be better to be able to like prove that I can do like bicep and containers and Kubernetes
Yeah.
and all those various things, GitHub Actions, which is what I'm trying to do on the side. So I'd like to have it, but um, I don't know. Might
Yeah,
seem
I'd
like
be
more
curious to
important
know
things.
how many employers are actually specifically looking for that, or if they just want to know that you can have a like educated conversation about it. Like I know about bicep because I've done XYZ, or yeah, it'd be
Right.
interesting to
Yep.
know that.
That maybe even like Easy 104 would be okay. At least that's at least can explain that you have a starting point, right? Like you've done
hmm
more than just the basics. Like Easy 900, it's good. I took it because I had a free credit to take it, but that's like a dictionary test. That's like
Yeah,
whatever the equivalent of AWS entry level one is. You could pass it if you could just like study the material, at least have like a rudimentary understanding of cloud.
yeah,
So I think Easy 104 would probably good. And I try to mention on my resume that I'm working on AC 400, so they at least know that I have like some of the skills, even if I don't have the certification around it yet. So
yeah. So you've done a lot of DevOps work, at least in the last, X number of years. Do you think that
yep.
you'll like sort of maintain that course, or is there anything else that's sort of piquing your interest lately?
I don't know. Like that's a good question because I've been kind of thinking about that myself. Like, if I were to like lose my job here, or do I really want to do DevOps, or maybe something that's like blended? And I
Yeah.
like web development always. interested me. Like, I'm not a designer though. I couldn't go into Photoshop or GIMP or any other image editing program and like craft up something cool. But I definitely know HTML and JavaScript and stuff like that. And it just something to me about having something where you have like blank piece of paper, or, a blank thing your ID, and then all of a sudden you've got like, all this cool stuff going on. It's super like interesting to me. So like
Yeah.
even that would even be interesting to me doing something like that. And I think that's also why I get super excited about like building computers.
Hmm.
So like my best friend's brother has an HVAC company in Laconia, New Hampshire, and he wanted a bunch of just basic machines for the office. So he like paid me money, just like built him like 3 machines. And then he's like, oh,
That's a
my
cool
son really
gig.
wants a gaming rig. I'm like,
Hmm.
okay. And it's kind of
That's
cool
a
to
super
just
cool
have
gig.
the computer be just like pieces, and you just put it all together, and hey, look, it's a finished like thing. That kind of stuff's always fascinating to me. So maybe even something like like web development or front end engineer, that'd be kind of interesting. I don't know. I'm not saying I have to be like DevOps
DevOps
forever. And the
forever.
other the other
Hmm.
kind of problem right now is all the roles are senior level roles, right? Like, so they want this unicorn person that has years and years and years of it. And I can't go to them and say like, yeah, old hat, I know it. So I think that's been a little bit of a problem. So maybe there should be a pivot for me, like to something else. I don't know.
Well, it's funny that you say all that because I've so far mostly just done back end like API development and have recently moved to the front end, and it's been kind of fun. Like it's definitely different because you get that like quick feedback loop from the visual side of things. And I'm not doing like I'm being
Yeah,
provided most of the visuals, which is nice. I do have some background in Photoshop, but it's been gosh so long. So it's kind of nice. I get the best of both worlds. I get the imagery provided to me, and then it's mostly just figuring out how to make like the JavaScript work and how to place things in certain areas. And gosh, CSS is
right.
so I forgot how hard it was.
Right. So much to it. I feel like if I could learn how to do graphic design, I could be like the full package, right? And I could do stuff on the side, like maybe help someone make a website or something. But like I right now I'd have to like source the images and stuff like that. So I use Postman quite a bit here. Like, right. But like I said, we use IoT Central, and you can either go into IoT Central and fill out this like crazy form with all the information to
Hmm.
be able to like OTA to a brewer, or I could just have a JSON object that fills those fields in, and it just does a put request, to the
Yeah,
API endpoint, and does it. And then I could iterate through. Like there's the option in Postman where you can actually have a runner and have it do it like 8 or 10 times, so I could just blast it out and not have to
yeah.
just keep filling it in. So I use it quite a bit for what I
Yeah, it's
do.
actually been kind of a nice full circle moment, if you will, because I started my tech journey in support and actually used Postman before I even became an engineer because I was trying to figure out how my company's API worked so I could help with like the customers figure out
Right,
what was going on or talk to my engineers about what was going on. Why is it not working? So it's
right,
actually kind of a fun full circle moment in that way. Like I started using it before I even knew what it was.
right.
Um,
And now I'm helping code for it.
yeah,
Yeah, it's cool.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's been really fun.
for sure.
Yeah, it's been a really cool thing, and I'm still shocked. I just posted something on LinkedIn today, but I'm still shocked at just how much Postman actually does because I didn't quite realize the expanse of like all the products that they have and that they provide. It's totally not necessarily like trying to like sell it right now or anything, but just like I'm amazed. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's actual APIs like from the standpoint of like oh, what's the word I want to use? They have like a repo of APIs essentially, like a list of
right.
APIs that you can connect to publicly. There's collections, which I was using on my side project, where we sort of like keep track of all the different, requests and types that we have and the data that we can use to make those requests. So it's kind of nice to have that.
Yeah,
But yeah, data governance, like now there's
right.
these
A
AI
lot.
agents and
Yeah,
MCP servers, and it's pretty
yeah.
cool.
The list just
Um,
keeps going on and on and on.
yeah,
For sure. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, they're trying to be like an all-in-one sort of platform as opposed to just like, I need this to help me build APIs. Like there's all sorts of stuff that goes
It's
on there.
it's
So
probably good to diversify. You don't want to just be
yeah,
pigeonholed and I'm just a thing that can like post, put, update, like
Mhm.
use the HTTP verbs. Like that's all we do.
Well, and it's easy to replicate that. Just, I mean, I say easy. It's easier to replicate that than it is to replicate like a whole slew of services. Um,
Right.
so yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And especially with the way like something that I've come across recently several times is like learning about companies or organizations that have relied too much on one particular like funding source. So for instance, like um, nonprofits that have relied too heavily on corporate sponsorships. And then, when things are being pulled back as they have been lately with the economy
Yeah,
being a
for
little bit
sure.
shakier, like you don't have
Yeah.
any legs to stand on. So it's been interesting to see like how you can diversify and get a little creative sometimes as an organization, as a team, whatever it is. It's pretty cool.
Right. Because that pipe could shut right off. The money's
Yeah.
gone, and like, what are we gonna do? So, I
Yeah,
get
well,
it.
and it's something I've been thinking about personally. Like, I'm doing this project for fun, but I also have a side project that, like, we're actually hoping I'm gonna get them on soon. I'm excited about it. But we're
Nice.
getting ready to do an alpha launch for a we've been working on for quite a while.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
but then hopefully we'll be in beta soon, so I'm excited.
Well, that's cool.
Mm,
Congrats. It's
thanks.
awesome.
So yeah, so diversifying and
Yeah,
similar to you,
right.
like
Yeah,
checking
yeah,
out like different projects, the built-in public project. Like I've seen you
yeah.
working on is it Vinay's? Is that how you pronounce his
Oh,
name?
yeah, I've been helping them with the Minesweeper stuff, yeah, a little bit,
Yeah,
and,
like working on different projects and getting your hands dirty
helping
with
him I
something.
was helping him with GitHub Actions. They also helped him. He was deciding to go to TypeScript
Mm-hmm.
from, that was gonna React, but he wanted to go to TypeScript, so I tried to do my implementation of it, but somebody else that joined the team pointed out that, like, there were some things that were off in mine, like the colors weren't quite right and the numbers weren't quite right, so he did his
Yeah.
own, um, branch, but I kept mine around so he can look and see if there's things from that he might wanna, like, pick through, and then also
Yeah.
helping with, like, GitHub Actions, so, like, now when you do a commit, it'll run the linter, it'll do this, it'll do that, and they'll actually build the project to make sure that it still builds. That's another
Yeah.
problem, you make some change, and maybe you break the whole thing, so it's been kinda
Yeah.
interesting.
Has he
Lets me
deployed
know.
already?
He deploys it to what's the GitHub thing where you can deploy, like, a little mini website? It's deployed there,
Okay.
so, yeah, and I think his
Understood.
idea is that eventually he wants the GitHub action to actually, like, have something where maybe you can click a button and it deploys the new version,
Mm-hmm.
there. So,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
been one of my
So
favorite parts about learning about CI/CD and actually, so going from boot camp where you build everything and you sort of throw it up against the wall and hope it sticks, where like being with professional teams, it's been really cool. Like I just press a button or like I merge a branch and then like currently if I merge a branch, like it goes through all these checks, like you're saying, it lints, it tests,
yep, yep,
it does all the bells and whistles, and then it just deploys at the end, and it is so cool. But I also know that we have one guy in particular on our team who does a lot of the infrastructure work, and I know that it can be, sort of like hitting your head against the wall. Like it's definitely not easy, um,
no,
but it's so worth it. Like once you get it in, the developer enablement is huge.
right. Yeah, and we're using, like, pre-commit checks now too with, like, Husky. So, like, it'll actually, like, run those like, if you forgot to run prettier, it'll just, like, run it for you. Because when I first started, I kept forgetting to run the linter, and, like, it kept, like,
Yeah.
saying, "No, you can't commit, you didn't run prettier." I'm like, "Oh, oops, I forgot again."
Yeah,
To run that
yeah,
again.
that's actually something I would love to implement because I keep accidentally forgetting and then like getting an email that like your pipeline failed and I'm like, come on. So yeah, we need to implement
Yeah.
that and a couple projects of
Yeah, you
mine.
can do that with Husky. Yeah. It works pretty good because it just does it for so then you don't forget. Like, I just kept forgetting to run prettier, and it's like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
forgot, damn."
Yes. Yeah, and then when you pull down the branch, like your main branch or your develop branch or however you're doing your branching strategy, it's really cool because then it's already right there. So you just pull it down and it's all fixed.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's cool.
It's pretty neat. Well, before we close up today, I would love to know if there's one thing that our listeners take away from this conversation, if they remember nothing else, what would you like people to walk away with?
That we should all kinda lean on each other. Like, I feel like my work, like, if I do something that you don't know and you know something I don't know and we teach each other, like, we're all, like, that much better. So should all just kind of like help each other out and like lend a hand and kind of realize we were all in our infancy at one point, right? Like we all did know that thing or that
Yep.
thing or whatever. And it just, I don't know. I'm always like willing to help out anybody that needs it or wants it. So hope
And I will
everyone can do
say,
the same.
yeah, and I will say you practice what you preach, because I think that's how we started chatting, is I was like just dipping my toe into DevOps and you were
Yeah.
answering questions and pointing me to
Yep.
resources. So I
Yep.
appreciate
Sure.
you.
No problem. I appreciate you.
Yeah. Well, and thank you. I appreciate you joining the Work in Progress podcast, and it's been wonderful to have you on as a guest. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it for this commit of the Work in Progress podcast. If you liked it, please hit follow, leave a review, or share it with another human who's figuring things out too. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and keep showing up, even if it's still a draft. Until next time, keep iterating.